Dear grade 12 students in Qatar Technical School, welcome back again. Our lesson for today is from Unit 6 Planning, and this is Lesson 2 Schedules. Please go to your course books this time from page 43, and let's get started. In this lesson, students will be able to use some modal verbs correctly.
Dear students, in this lesson, we will learn to use modal verbs, and we will focus on modal verbs that refer to both present and future time, such as can, must, have to, need to, don't have to, don't need to. Also, we'll talk about modal verbs that emphasize on the future, such as will be able to, will have to, will need to, and their negatives. Now, let's start with modal verbs that refer to present or future. As you can see here, we have positive and negative modal verbs. The positive ones are can, must, have to, and need to, while the negative ones are can't, don't have to, and don't need to. On the other hand, we have modal verbs that focus on the future. The positive ones are will be able to, will have to, and will need to, while the negative ones are won't be able to, won't have to, and won't need to. Now let's talk about the modal verbs in details. Now the first one, can, which means ability in present or future. We say in the example, I can carry this table easily, which means I can carry it now in the present or in the future. While on the other hand, we have the one that refers to ability in the future, which is will be able to. Like in the example, I will be able to carry that table easily next month. Maybe he can't carry it now, but next month he will be able to carry it easily. Now the negative form of can is can't, which means not able to in present or in future. Like in the example, I can't carry this table. Not now, not in the future. While we have won't be able to, which means lack of ability but in the future. Like in the example, I won't be able to visit you tomorrow. Tomorrow, the focus here is on the future. Maybe because he has some problems or certain condition, so he can't or he won't be able to visit his friend tomorrow. Another modal verb, which is must. Must means here obligation. Obligation in the present or in the future. For example, we say you must stop at the traffic light. This is an obligation, now or later. While the focus here is on the future in the next modal verb, will have to or will need to. This is obligation in the future. Example, you will have to make PCR test before you travel, because in the future they will make this test as obligatory. Now to express lack of necessity in present or future, we use don't need to or don't have to, like in the example. You don't have to go to school on weekends. While to express lack of necessity but in the future only, we use won't have to or won't need to. Like in the example, you won't have to study during your next vacation. Now with modal verbs, we have the following general rule. Modal verb plus pair infinitive. Dear students, what you have to do now is to find and correct the mistakes in the following examples. Let's start with number 1. Many students can read English fluently. Do you think this sentence is correct? The answer is no. There is something wrong. But what is the mistake? The modal verb can, as we said, should be followed by a bare infinitive. Does the word reads a bare infinitive verb? The answer is no. So how can we make it correct? By doing the following. Many students can read English fluently, so the verb should be bare infinitive without any addition. The second example is students must to wear their uniform. Again, is the sentence correct? The answer is also no. There is a mistake here. The modal verb must, again, is followed by to wear. Now, to wear is not a bare infinitive. It is a full infinitive verb. So what we have to do is to cancel the to infinitive. So the correct shape of the sentence is students must wear their uniform. What about the third and the last example here? You don't have to sleeping early in the weekends. Again, the modal verb don't have to is followed by sleeping, and sleeping here is not an infinitive verb. It is a gerund one because it ends with ing. So we can make it correct by changing it into the bare infinitive sleep. Dear students, please now go to exercise 8 in your students' books, page 43. And what you have to do is rewrite these statements to emphasize the future. Replace the words in italics with phrases using words in the box. Will, want, going to, be able to, have to, and need to. Let's have a look at number 1 as an example. The world must make a 40% reduction in emissions before 2040. Now, the best way to emphasize on the future in this sentence is to do it in the following way. The word is going to have to. Instead of must, we say is going to have to or will need to make a 40% reduction in emissions before 2040. Now, dear students, please read the following sentences from 2 till 8 and try to do the same. Change the modal verbs that refer to present or future and replace them with modal verbs that emphasize only on the future. Thank you so much, my students. Now, after doing that exercise, now you can come back and check your answers. Of course, the first one was already made for you and we discussed it. Now let's begin with the second one. The modal verb here, can't meet. We replace it with won't be able to meet. In number 3, the modal verb is can here, and we replace it with will probably be able to convert. In number 4, the sentence says here in the end, I am sure we can't meet it. So we replace it, it becomes I am sure we won't be able to meet it. In number 5, we have mustn't continue. So we change it, it becomes won't have to continue. In number 6, our company doesn't have to cut. So it becomes won't have to cut. And in number 7, we must obtain. It becomes we will have to obtain. And in the last one, people don't need to stop. It becomes won't need to stop. And the second part also, they will need to do it less. Well done, my students. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my students. Now we came to the end of this lesson. Please don't forget to log into your Microsoft Teams account in order to do the quiz, and remember to do it within 24 hours. That's all for today. Goodbye.